Pump it up, pump it up.
Trae.
Come on, come on.
With Trae.
Pump it up, pump it up.
It's the day with Trae.
This is the day to gain inspiration, to make a positive change in the nation. We're inviting you to partake in conversation, to raise your vibration. It's the day that we will all celebrate all of our peeps that make this thing elevate. Watch the negative fade away, cause it's the day with Trae.
Grand Rising, everyone. Welcome to the Day with Trae. I'm your host, Trae Holiday. We have a terrific Tuesday in the works for y'all. So excited to have some lovely gentlemen in the Black Media Matters studios with me. I get to start the show off with Myles Lewis. He's a young student athlete who we caught up with at the Seattle opening of X, the Life and Times of Malcolm X for Seattle Opera. And so I'm going to be talking to him a little bit about that because I didn't get to quite catch up with him after the show. So I'm excited that he's here. But we're also going to be talking about his life as a student athlete. And because of Women's History Month, you know we got to make sure we talk to him about inspirational women in his life. And next, I actually have the pleasure of welcoming back Marcus Harrison Green, y'all. We're going to be talking about his new venture with Hinton Publishing. That's right. He's moved on over into the publishing realm. And so I'm so excited that he is here to give us all of the updates on what's going down there. But of course, you know, it is the top of the show, y'all. So it's a perfect time to tag and share this stream. Participate with us. Come on. It's Women's History Month. Participate with this woman right here. Go ahead and share the stream with those who you feel could benefit from a daily dose of dopeness right here on The Day with Trae. If you can't watch our TV show, we still got you covered, y'all, because you can listen to us anywhere you find your favorite podcast. Just search Converge Media Network and The Day with Trae. You'll find me on whichever platform is your favorite. There's like 200 of them. We're on all of them. So whichever one is your favorite, go ahead and search for us and you'll find us there. Well, I'm excited because we really want to start talking to more youth. And I got to give a huge shout out to Dr. Maxine Mims, who encouraged me to say, you need to be talking to the young folks. Get your son on the couch. Get your other son on the couch. So I actually am excited because when I saw Myles at Life and Times of X, the opening at Seattle Opera, I was like, what is this young man doing here? And he gave me the opportunity to give me a little glimpse about what he was anticipating there. So I'm excited that he's joining me today. What's up, Myles?
How's it going? How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good. Yourself? Just living life.
Yeah, I'm doing well, and I'm so glad that you made it here to the Black Media Matters Studios. Welcome. It's your first time.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, it is. Excited to be here.
Well, I want to start with you. As a student athlete, I know my son, he's a senior. He's been a student athlete basically since he was in second grade. So he's had to balance it. And I just want to talk to you a little bit about how you balance it all.
Personally, I balance it just by having a work-life balance because you can't always just work. If you do that, then it's just going to be a lot of pressure on yourself and you won't be able to get the things done that you need to get done. So I just try to have fun with it. I try to have fun with the work I do.
Yeah, well, some of this is also about routine, and I heard you sharing earlier, you have a morning routine that's pretty intense.
Yes,
Tell us about this workout in the morning.
So on the weekdays, on a normal day, I get up, I do my 100 push-ups, I do my 25 times 4, which is 100 sit-ups. I get up in the shower, and that's usually at 5:45. I have to be at school by around 6:30. But I get there a little bit earlier, 6:27 to be exact. So I just try to really keep that routine because if I don't, then, things get thrown off.
Well, it's so important to start a routine at a young age. And I talked to your mom a little bit. Y'all are a military family. So both of your parents are in the military, and you have moved like 14 different times because of it. But now you're here in the Pacific Northwest. I want to hear a little bit about how those moves impacted you and how you're excited to kind of maybe plant some roots here in the PNW.
Well, I get to stay here for my 4 years of high school, 2 years left. I'm a sophomore, so it's good to just have some type of roots somewhere where it's like I can come back to, or I could stay for a while instead of just always moving around. Because I've had 14 moves, been to 41 states, 17 countries, out of country, in country, been everywhere.
Well, how does that impact you too? I know our founder here, Omari Salisbury, his ears may be perking up because he's a global citizen and has been to all types of countries. I don't even remember the number of countries he's been to, 60 plus, I think. But there is something that is also impacting on a young person who's been able to experience different cultures in the world like that. How has that imparted itself on you?
I love culture, all different types. My favorite is Japanese. I really try to embark on that. And I think it's impacted me just by being able to interact with anybody, anytime. I'm not nervous to, introduce myself, say hi. That really helps because if we do happen to move again, then it's okay because I get to speak to new people.
Yeah, that's a better look on it. I think a lot of young folks are like, but my friends, wait, I need to just be here. So I love hearing that it's giving you a positive outlook on the world. And you've gotten to see different cultures from a very intimate perspective, which oftentimes now with, technology, you can look up a lot of stuff.
Yes,
Oh,
you
what do they
can.
do in Japan? But when you're there, it's very different. So I want to talk a little bit here about the opera. You gave us some insight into what you were anticipating because you're like, look, I've read the stories. Now I just want to see how it's done in the opera way. So I got to ask you about, what you gathered from that amazing show. Tell us your take on it.
Well, first I want to say the opera in general. Usually operas are not in English. They're either in French, Italian, German. But being able to understand it in English, it's really cool to see that and not having to find a transcript or trying to look it up on something else other than the actual opera. But overall, the opera was so much better than what I thought. I haven't been to one in a while, yes, but the way they did it and the way they exampled Malcolm X was very just perfect.
Yeah. It's interesting because talking to Kenneth Kellogg, who played Malcolm, he talked about how he wanted to really portray Malcolm the man. And, because I was like, what is it like to be this iconic character? He's like, I had to dive into who he was as a man. And then just last week, I got the opportunity to talk to one of his daughters, Dr. Ilyasa Shabazz. And we had an amazing conversation in front of a audience. It was fantastic. But she said, that there was so much in terms of the love that her parents poured into her and her sisters, that's something that she always carries with her. And that father-daughter connection wasn't explored a lot in media in general. So it was great to hear those different perspectives about how to showcase such a major character like Malcolm X. So I'm glad that you had a good time.
Yes,
And you were
amazing.
there with your mom and your
Yes,
sister. It was
yes, I
family
was.
night. And so you were just turning what, 16?
16, yes, I'm 16 now. Feels like I've been 15 forever. Not much has changed, but being 16 does feel good to, have another chapter in my life.
You know what, Myles? You're an amazing young man. Of course, I
thank
got to
you.
ask you now because it is, International Women's History Month. I
Indeed.
mean, right? And right here, this is something really important to me on the day with Trae. This week we really want to continue to uplift the themes of inspirational women and, leadership. Tell us a little bit about some inspirational women in your life.
Well, obviously, I have my mom, my sister, my grandma, my great-grandma, but a big one is my grandma, my Miss Ann. She's been with me since I was young, since I came to this earth. Lived with her for a couple years, then moved back in with my parents. So I think having her in my life, she's really taught me how to, one, treat women, two, just how to live life, like through, and just go explore everything. Be adventurous.
Yeah, you know what? Adventure is key, I think,
yes, it is.
because especially as a young person, there's so much that you get to experience now before a lot of the responsibilities come. So it's a great time to be exploring. I even encourage my adult friends to find their ways to explore in the midst of the responsibilities and the work-life balance. But I will say this, I'm very impressed with your morning routine.
Thank you. Thank
I'm
you.
very
Thank
impressed
you.
with your
Thank
morning
you.
routine. And I want to ask you, I mean, you are a young person, but I always think about peer-to-peer mentorship. I don't know if you've ever considered, I know you're in sports, so already there's some nodes that you take from being able to, I guess, work with your teammates and that level of camaraderie. How has it been for you in the sports that you've played to be able to have those peer-to-peer mentorship opportunities where y'all are encouraging each other?
I think you can learn anything from anybody. So even if they're not as good as you or not on your level, you still can learn something from them, how to do something, how to do this certain thing. Yeah, I just think even if you don't understand what they're saying, there's a way to understand it.
Well, there's a way to always apply it, right, in your
Yes.
life. And so I appreciate you sharing that because honestly, sometimes we look at stats, numbers, data. I mean, we were just talking about it with some phenomenal sports folks yesterday's episode, where it's like, yeah, it's not always about that. Sometimes it's about other things that you can gain from what somebody is giving. And I think that level of dedication is key, which you are showing in your morning routine and keeping it going. Of course, for me, I love being able to talk to young people, and I want to hear from you some of the things that you think are important for adults to know in this world right now. What are some things that we really need to be learning from the youth?
I think a lot about technology because I feel like we understand it the best because we are the ones creating it as time goes on. And you can't just shut down. Like, you can't always stick to the same way. You have to change. Life change all the time. You can't just stick to a certain way of doing things when somebody just tells you, oh, you might need to do this differently. Don't get mad at them. Listen.
Don't get mad, but listen. Myles Lewis, thank you so much for joining me today. It's been a real honor to have you here on the Day with Trae. And you know what? This is a home for you, Myles. So while you're in them high school years, just feel free to hit me up. We'll make sure we bring you back so we can stay updated as to what's going on in your world.
I would love to. Thank you.
Absolutely, y'all. I'm telling you, what a great way to start this terrific Tuesday. I get to continue all of this terrificness right after this short break. Up next, we got Marcus Harrison Green in the building. We're going to be talking about his new venture in publishing, y'all. You don't want to miss it. Stay tuned. You're watching The Day with Trae.
Africatown Plaza is our latest affordable housing development project. It's 126 units of affordable housing over community commercial space.
It's the first time in my career, and I've been doing this for 10 years, that I was able to design for people who look like me.
Africatown Plaza is a beacon of hope.
Africatown Plaza is a love letter to the community.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to The Day with Trae. I'm your host, Trae Holiday. Joining me right now is Marcus Harrison Green, founder of South Seattle Emerald and owner of Hinton Publishing. What's up, Marcus?
Oh, just energized to be with you, Trae, on this Women's History Month here that we're doing right here today. So
you know what? I'm excited to have you. It's been a long time, my friend. So it's really refreshing to see you and to have you here. We were just laughing because clearly Myles got us beat, man, with his morning routine.
I wanted to tell you, man, he's up at what, 5:45? Yeah. I'm on my fifth dream at that time. You know what I'm saying? So, but kudos to him, obviously. The youth truly will lead us, as we see. So.
Absolutely. Well, you've been doing a great job leading, and I want to talk a bit about, publishing. I mean, this is something, when you told me you were doing this, I was like, oh my gosh, it makes a lot of sense. But you have history that really brought you to say, I need to do this. Tell us a bit about that impetus story that got you to say, I need to move into publishing.
Yeah, so book publishing is something that I've always wanted to do, but, I had some other things like founding the Emerald, that sort of got in the way prior to that. But one of the things that really led me to publishing was my grandfather. His name was Lenny Hinton. He was a writer in 1950 Chicago, astute, proud, innovative Black man who wrote this book about the Great Wall of China. He spent about 10 years of his life doing so. He ends up sending it to a publisher, doesn't hear anything back for like 2 years, And then one day he's walking through his favorite bookstore in Chicago. He happens upon this display. There's this book. It has the exact title of his manuscript, except for it's a white author's, photo on it. And so he's like, what's going on? So he thumbs through the book. It's literally his words verbatim. So his work was stolen. Unfortunately, that's a situation that destroyed him. He never ends up writing again. And so it was one of those things where I just kept looking at, like, how can I bring his story, to life, but also it isn't just, his story isn't, unique in the sense that there are so many people, even today, right, who are undersung, underappreciated, and they need their work to be shown, and they need their work to get out there. And so that's what Hinton's all about. He didn't have the opportunity to have a book with his name on it in his lifetime, so I'm trying to put as many, books with his name on it in our lifetime. So,
Marcus, I adore this story. Now, of course, obviously there's tragedy here, but what I love is that how we turn tragedy into triumph. To hear you say, I'm trying to put his name on as many books as I possibly can is so inspirational, but also that's that inner driver, man. Like the days when it seems impossible, you have your grandfather to keep you guided towards as your North Star, right? So I love that because we do need that, especially when we're looking to do phenomenal things, and ownership is key.
1,000%.
Right? And we see a lot of tax on ownership. I mean, how are you experiencing the fact that, like, no, I can't do this in another way? Like, I've got to be the one that does this.
Whew. I'll say this in terms of tax. If you just go to our Facebook page or our X, I get formerly Twitter page, and see all like the comments that are on any post that we do. I mean, it seems like the knives come out. It seems like, there are people who are like, well, so all y'all is racist against white people or yada, yada, yada. And it's like, my God, just because you're trying to carve out something to platform and amplify voices that aren't amplified, there are certain people who are always going to feel attacked. But I think at the end of the day, you have to, Trae, because I know as much love as you get, I'm sure you have your haters as well that I see occasionally on your mentions and so forth. And like you, you're a great inspiration for it. You have to, that you're doing right. That you're doing, a wonderful thing. And ultimately, at the end of the day, when you're doing something that's trying to be revolutionary, you're always going to have people who want to, scratch and claw us back into a regressive regressive society.
Yeah, no, so true. And honestly, I'm grateful because I live in a bubble. A lot of people who know me know that. Like, you got to tell me what's going on because I don't absorb a lot of like media, actually. I love producing and creating impact media. I love being a host of this show and being able to do so much of the work I do outside of it. But you're so right. There's almost always these attacks. But I love that you're talking about, really uplifting the stories of those who oftentimes wouldn't have the opportunity to publish their own works. Tell us about that process behind the scenes. How are you finding these phenomenal stories and these authors?
So much of it, honestly, in terms of like how we find people is like these people have always been around. We have people like Sean Good, who I know is a friend of the show, who recently I want to say he finished last weekend.
This weekend.
Yeah, this weekend, pardon me. His portrayal of Malcolm X in, X on Stage is wonderful, wonderful. If people didn't check it out, they missed it. Their play, The Meeting. We also have Reagan Jackson, who is a South Seattle matriarch. And these are people who have been around for, quite some time, who have special, unique things to say. And for whatever reason, right, these other public book publishers, they, for whatever reason, have overlooked these people. And so we haven't. I look at it like, these are diamonds that they're not even in the rough. They are just diamonds that nobody is picking up. And so we try to do that with Hinton. And I think one of the reasons that we need to exist and continue to exist is the fact that book publishing is so dominated by one race. And I want to say it's 90% of white people, 90% white when it comes to ownership. And then even if you look at characters and protagonists in books, 41% of them are white. 11% of them are animals, and so you have 55% you know what I'm saying, of like the the dominant folks that we are reading about, listening, hearing about are, non-black folks, right? Are non-folks of color as well. And so for us, that just isn't what the world looks like, you know what I'm saying? And so for Hinton, we're trying to like actually reflect what, the stories and the narratives and the community that we see every single day.
Well, I got to give you a huge shout out. I mean, just you're right. It just the King X the meeting wrapped on the Sunday, the 10th, and I got to see it on the 9th, and I was like, man, Sean Good did such a great job. So you're right about uplifting the gems that already exist in our community and carving a pathway to have space for the protagonists that look like folks from the global majority is so important.
Absolutely.
I think about it in all types of artworks, right? So I love the fact that you have this kind of perspective to the publishing world. I also think too, I gotta ask because in today's age, a lot of folks are self-publishing, and I want to hear the difference, right? I mean, as a publisher, walk us through, for those who don't know, like myself, what does it look like for someone to publish with you versus maybe trying to do it on their own?
Yeah, I mean, well, thank you for asking that question because I get asked it a lot. And so at the end of the day, the main difference between self-publishing is that we're out here making sure that the quality is top notch, that that the proofreading is top notch. There are like no mistakes, no typos, nothing like that. But then also, I think the number one thing is truly the marketing, right? There can be book publishing is very much like that whole saying of like, if a tree falls in the forest and nobody hears it, did it actually fall? There is so much content that is out here. There are so many books that are out here. And so you have to be able to stand out, right? And we do that through marketing. We do that through getting our people on, various shows like The Day with Trae.
Right on. Bring them on, Marcus. Bring them on.
Number one in Seattle and in my heart. No, but then also just making sure that their, excerpts from their books are in places like Vanity Fair, The Atlantic, Ebony, Essence, making sure that their work is truly out there and truly breathing and truly sees the light of day. And as you know, most writers aren't necessarily great self-promoters and marketers, right? I mean, I'm a writer and I still, get queasy about like promoting my own stuff.
Yeah.
So, we're there walking with them and walking every step of the way.
This is really key because, folks have asked me, when are you going to write your book? And I'm like,
I think I've asked you that
you
too.
You did.
Okay.
I was about to say, but it's so interesting because I know that self-publishing wasn't going to be the way I did it, because exactly what you're talking about, to be guided through the process and really through the trenches of it when you're new to it, is so necessary. So I'm really glad that you stepped into the world of publishing. Of course, as we are here, it is Women's History Month.
Yes.
And I want to talk to you about some of those influential women in your life. Give us some details on how they've inspired you.
I would say, certainly my mother, certainly my partner, Danielle, my sister, Latanya, who is a religious watcher of your show, so I have to make sure to shout her out today.
Shout out.
Folks like Reagan Jackson, who we're about to publish at Hinton, and her book will be out March 26th, so please drop it and get it. But I think these are people who just are so fiercely independent, but also like just fiercely folks who aren't scared to be themselves, that they bring their whole selves to life, are not scared to, when it comes time to face challenges and so forth, they're there. They're always able to summon some level of inner strength. And I think that just inspires me to try to live my life as the best version of myself that I can possibly live. My mother always says there's nothing that comes to a sleeper but a dream. And she also says to dream but don't sleep, in the sense of like, you have to put in the work, day in and day out. The young man who we just had, Myles, on here earlier, as he was just talking, you could see, right, that there was the inspiration that he's gotten, from strong women in his life. And I think at the end of the day, they say women hold up half the sky, say black women hold up the entire thing. You know what I'm saying? So y'all just make it so that we can shine. And I want to say that you all are not praised enough, particularly in this city of Seattle, that so much, it seems like so many times we want to praise you for your labor, but not praise you all in any type of consistent way. And so they say Women's History Month. I mean, hell, we need to love on women and give them their flowers every single day of the year, 365.
Yeah, Marcus, I appreciate you saying that and sharing that sentiment. I think it's for me, I really see it as when we're pouring into each other. And I go to the Black community because I think about Black women and Black men, and when you're pouring into one another, ultimately, there's something that is uplifting about that. And I never want to leave out, my folks who are non-binary or
Right.
transgendered in the queer community. Like, when we're pouring into each other, we all benefit. We all
We do.
benefit, my friend. So it sounds like we got to follow Hinton Publishing. We got to
Oh,
be on
please.
track with all of these amazing books and authors y'all are breaking into the market. Go ahead and look right there. Let folks know how we tap in and make sure we
Yes.
do not miss any of these phenomenal works coming out.
Well, you can follow us at hintonpublishing.com. We are on Instagram, X, formerly Twitter. We're on Blue Sky. We're on LinkedIn. We're on everything. And also, if you want to help contribute to the work that we're doing, we have a monthly publication called Speak the Sojourner, talking about powerful Black women. It's named after a powerful Black woman, Sojourner Truth. And every month you can get poetry, fiction, flash fiction, dramatic narrative, illustrations, art, and everything else for a mere $10. And you don't only just help Hinton, but you also help the local creative community. So,
Wow, what an amazing way to get people engaged.
trying our best. That's all we have is the trying, right?
There we
There
go.
you go.
Marcus, always a pleasure to have you here on the Day with Trae, my friend. Thank you so much for joining me today. It's always great to see you.
Thank you, and I hope it's not too soon before the next time we connect. So.
I know, absolutely. We'll make it happen.
All right, now.
All right, y'all. I'm telling you, this is such a phenomenal Tuesday. I'm wrapping up all of this terrificness right after this short break. Stay tuned. You're watching The Day with Trae.
Even if you don't love, can we stay? Maybe we could disappear. Even if you don't love, can we stay here? Maybe we could disappear.
You on my mind a lot, don't need no time watch. I don't know how I got you in my pocket spot. Yeah, that's babe, need you every day. You seem like the barging down, got my heart no barging in. From the bed to the floor to the couch, might wake the neighbors up. Break you in, then break you out. In the end, we gon' make a child. Then we gon' hit the show. Part 2, we don't need no pause. We miss you, we gon' get tipsy, don't need a power shot.
Copy my steel. Face the fact that copy my steel.
A new COVID vaccine is here. It's designed to help prevent the COVID variants that we're seeing spreading now. Even if you got COVID before or got COVID booster shots and the vaccine, it's important to get this new vaccine. It's safe to get the COVID shot and the flu shot at the same time. Get both to prevent serious illness this fall and winter.
Africatown Plaza is our latest affordable housing development project. It's 126 units of affordable housing over community commercial space.
It's the first time in my career, and I've been doing this for 10 years, that I was able to design for people who look like me.
Africatown Plaza is a beacon of hope.
Africatown Plaza is a love letter to the community.
Welcome back, everyone, to The Day with Trae. What a great episode today. Huge shout out to my guest, the young Myles Lewis in the building, dropping gems today about how he balances himself as a student and athlete and also keeping himself on track with his routine. And also Marcus Harrison Green. Oh, I'm so excited that he started Hinton Publishing. I think y'all are going to be seeing more and more phenomenal works coming out of the Pacific Northwest because they exist. I really appreciate how both of them shared throughout, this month of March, Women's History Month, the women that are inspirational to them. You know, it is so true that, you know, we all need these nodes of inspiration in our life. And I love being able to celebrate women intentionally throughout the month of March, because it is true. We all need to be able to celebrate everyone who is doing great things in our lives, because it makes us better. But you know what also makes us better is when we are all gleaning from the inspiration that comes from the guests here on The Day with Trae. You too can be inspired to be a part of the solution in the ways that make sense for your life. Hey, we heard from a young man today. We heard from a slightly older man today. And both of them really shared how they are continuing to be a part of community, to contribute to this world. I'm hoping that you have found some level of inspiration and encouragement to do just the same. And you know, y'all, for me, until tomorrow at 11 a.m., peace.
Converge Media produces culturally relevant content for Black and urban audiences. Our coverage is raw, transparent, and objective, praised by community leaders, government officials, and residents. Support Converge Media today via Venmo, Cash App, or PayPal at Converge Media.